Biggest surprise, losing on this floor to South Carolina or going to Tennessee and beating the Volunteers.
I think it's how you look at it, 50-50. I know that Kentucky got a huge win at Tennessee on Saturday, and how they did it is what's most impressive to me, Ravi, because they got it put on them in this building last Tuesday by South Carolina. And how would they respond? Well, they responded with a really physical ball club in Tennessee, and they went blow for blow to the point of out-rebounded the Volunteers by 20. That is not easy to do. Tennessee, one of the better rebounding clubs in the country. And look what Kentucky did. Those dirty baskets. Antonio Reeves led the free throw attempts, going 8 for 8. Kentucky went back to a blue-collar, body blow style that has Calipari feeling really good about his team coming into tonight.
Well, the crowd feels a little better than they did last week when they left this building. As we are just about set to tip it off here. This is a Georgia team that comes in 13-4, 3-1 in conference under Mike White, the former Florida Gator coach. Tshiebwe jumps against Matthew Alexander Moncrief, and it's Georgia that controls it. Our K Jewelers lineup starts with Terry Roberts and Cario Oquindo. Those are the two scorers on this team. And the first shot comes up short. Moncrief and Bridges, both very good. This is a terrific defensive team, especially against the three-point shot. Top 3 in the conference when it comes to slowing down a 3. Livingston's first shot is no good. Tshiebwe, offensive rebound number 1, went up in traffic and was denied.
It has to be gang rebounding by Georgia tonight. Not only to negate Tshiebwe, but Kentucky, one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country, percentage-wise.
Terry Roberts had 26 points in a big win over Auburn. It's one of the milestone wins for this Georgia team in the first year under White. And the high arcing shot comes up short. K Jeweler starting lineup for Kentucky. There's no Severe Wheeler on his birthday in the starting lineup. Wallace gets the start at point guard. And Livingston is also out there. Reeves and Wheeler will be amongst the first off the bench for Calipari.
It's a pretty physical starting 5 that Cal puts on the floor. And defensively, they were so good and so tight against Tennessee.
Floater for Frederick is off the mark.
Georgia is not afraid of the moment in Rupp Arena. They are a guard-dominated ball club. Zero-in Roberts is the main guy. So good off the bounce, and there it is.
Great example right by Wallace, and Roberts, who was averaging 20 in SEC play, as his head coach said, this was a big get for us. Freshman out of North Amityville, New York.
If you can't guard the ball against Georgia, you're in for a long night. And Roberts, success early, dancing with it, getting to the right side.
Tshiebwe will pull up, and that one, a high arcer, finds just the bottom of the net.
Starting to trust more and more his face-up 12 to 15-foot jump shot is Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah. And you wonder if playing against some 7-footers and getting some shots blocked can convince you this is another option we should try.
Absolutely.
Kendo step back, straight on, and he buries a 3.
That's a problem because he's a downhill bruiser himself. So when he's dancing to a 3-point shot early, honest guard 3 in red going forward.
Tshiebwe fires again, too strong off the back iron. Rebound, Georgia out of bounds. It'll go off Georgia and stick with Kentucky. Great to have our buddy Marty Smith back with us on Super Tuesdays.
Appreciate you, Ravi. It's great to be back. It has been an inconsistent season so far for the Kentucky Wildcats, but forward Jacob Toppin told me today at shoot-around that they are unified, they are like-minded, and they are, quote, should be feared. He admitted they have a sizable chip on their shoulder, and they're willing to play anybody in the nation, anywhere. And if they play as a team, as they did against Tennessee on Saturday, they believe they can beat anybody in the nation.
Well, right now it's Georgia who's next on their schedule. And this is a team that's tough, aggressive. We talked about Mike White, what he's done defensively with his ball club, and already has forced Kentucky into a couple of tough twos. It looked like that one should have been Kentucky ball.
Yeah. Well, the tough twos also, C.J. Frederick created tougher shots for himself. Oquindo, who made that last 3, scored the last 12 points in their win against Ole Miss. That's hard to do, but he had the last dozen points. And now one-on-one, Tshiebwe trying to chest up, and that's going to be a foul on Oscar Tshiebwe. Really good ball movement by Braylon Bridges with his feet. Early in December, he was the conference player of the week.
And a mistake made defensively by Tshiebwe, because Bridges is a kid that wants to get to his right shoulder with that left paw. Really good around the rim, and he spun back the opposite direction, and Tshiebwe just left his balance, and 23 in red goes to the stripe.
High percentage shooter is Bridges. His first free throw is in.
Rabbi, here's what I'm talking about. Tshiebwe's a lefty, so he wants to go to that right shoulder and shoot it with that left paw. And Tshiebwe takes away the right shoulder, so it gets him going back the other direction, and that's not his offensive strength. Tshiebwe bails him out, losing his discipline.
This is a great free throw shooting team. Coming into this, Georgia had made 30 of their last 32 free throws in their last 2 games.
And it's a 1-2-2 tempo press by Georgia, just trying to slow Kentucky down, giving them a shorter clock to work with in the half court.
Reeves quickly into the game. He'll be on the floor with Frederick, and recently this has been their most effective offensive lineup. Toppin got trapped, and then Roberts grabbed his arm, and they're going to get a foul on Terry Roberts.
Well, you got 3 offensive weapons on that perimeter now with Wallace, Frederick, and Antonio Reeves.
Reeves has been a volume shooter last 3 games, Jimmy. He's launched 36 shots. Free throw line, and Kentucky's cold shooting continues. They fell behind Tennessee 8-0 and then rallied to win at Rocky Top. And look at Roberts with a step back. No good. Tshiebwe fights for it and ends up in the hands of Toppin. In the land of the thoroughbreds, don't look for a horse race. Neither of these teams will run it. Finally, a 3 drops, and Kentucky gets it from Wallace.
Good news for Wallace, who's only 26% from the three-point line in SEC play. Overall, his percentage is higher, but has struggled shooting the ball in conference play. But again, Kentucky goes with 3 shooters on the perimeter. Wallace, being the 3rd option of the 3, makes a big one. 7-5, Georgia early.
Current Georgia head coach Mike White was quite a basketball player in his day. From 95 to 99 at Ole Miss, he was part of 3 straight 20-win seasons and NCAA tournament bids, 97, 8, and 9. They won a game at Rupp Arena February 14th of 98. He scored 16 and had 6 assists, and he can dig in on defense too, Jimmy Dykes.
Well, and that's who he is as a head coach. You coach the game like you played it, and he was a tough defensive guard. And he inherited a group that finished in the bottom 300 defensively at Georgia last year, and he has flipped their mantra in terms of how they approach the game and how they play it. Now has Georgia one of the top 60 teams defensively in college basketball, but tough competitive guy, had great success at Florida, but has fallen in love with Georgia in that Athens area.
Easy to do.
Yes, it is. That's 5.
It was a 5-second call against Roberts. Jimmy was all over it. Marty, what'd you learn from the Kentucky funnel?
And listening to John Calipari discuss with his team during that timeout, he reminded Oscar Tshiebwe, look, man, they are coming at you. They want to ISO you. They want to get you in foul trouble. You have to stay down and stay disciplined. He sat Chris Livingston as Georgia gets an alley-oop there. They sat Chris Livingston because he didn't sprint the court. They want to run even on a make, Ravi. They want to run.
Yeah, he told us today at the shoot-around, he said, we grade every sprint attempt during the game. And if you are at a B or a C level, you're coming out of the game. And Severe Wheeler now getting ready to check in because of the last turnover by Wallace.
Tshiebwe baseline throws it up. That's an air ball. He picks it up after a few other hands. Then he tried to throw it over his head. He'll do it again, and he'll miss. And now finally, surrounded by 5 red jerseys, he picks up the foul. They're going to call it on Marjorie McBride, 13 in the game.
But we know Tshiebwe is such a monster on the glass. He gets all the 50-50 balls. I've never seen a guy go up twice backwards in the same sequence like Tshiebwe did. But it is a body blow game, and you cannot ever come off of Tshiebwe, Ravi. If you do, and he has any space at all, he's going to own it. Rebounding is built from the ground up, and man, he has a tremendous foundation.
Free throw good by Tshiebwe. You mentioned sprinting. I mean, tempo-wise, Georgia is 208th in the country. Kentucky is 280th out of 363. But speaking of guys that can push the pace, while Wallace goes to the bench, Wheeler comes into the game celebrating his 22nd birthday today.
And we'll see how Wheeler responds off the bench. I mean, Zakai Ziegler is a super 6th man at Tennessee and is a small point guard coming in to kind of change the complexion of the game. Does Wheeler buy into it tonight?
6th in the NCAA, leads the SEC in assists. He'll get Roberts. That's a tough assignment. Spin move, and Tshiebwe faces up and does a good job against M.A. Moncrief. The handoff, here he goes with a left, gets it to go over the rim and in.
Yeah, Moncrief got Tshiebwe isolated as a corner defender and just won the foot race to the paint.
Bad pass right off the hands of Tshiebwe. Another turnover, and they're starting to add up for Kentucky early.
Well, Kentucky had 19 turnovers, right, at Tennessee on Saturday. Yep. Still won the game, didn't shoot the ball well, but those free throws and rebound numbers is what got him the win.
Oquendo with a wild three that missed, and Reeves pushes the other way into Frederick. Back to Reeves, quick release on the three, too strong.
Ravi, really good recovery to Georgia to run Frederick off the line and then challenge the three-point shot of Reeves in the corner.
Kentucky is 2 of 12 to start this game. Ian is Justin Hill. He's 11 for Georgia. He and Oquendo in the back with Roberts. They go a little smaller now. We got Frank Anselm, who's a very good shot blocker, number 5.
Back screen into a ball screen. It's hard action to handle.
That three off the iron. Toppin and Tshiebwe clear, so an easy rebound for Kentucky. Tshiebwe bodies right through his man, gets the foul and the basket. Oscar Tshiebwe lowered that left shoulder and just blew up Frank Anselm.
Just good delayed secondary break by Tshiebwe. The primary break wasn't there in terms of a layup at the rim, but Tshiebwe, as that secondary option, trails the play, catches it on the go, and his chest goes right through the chest of Frank Anselm.
Anselm is 6'10", 215, while Tshiebwe is 6'9", 260.
Kentucky was so good at the charity stripe in Knoxville, an area where they've struggled all year.
Tshiebwe is such a stat stuffer. 7 points and 5 rebounds already. Thanks, finishing my sentence. He pulled already out of the sky there. That was good.
We spend way too much time together. If I'm starting to think like you, help us.
Yeah, there's definitely help for that.
Just going to cross the action underneath into a sprint out ball screen.
Tshiebwe that time with that one hand, but a really tough shot. Jabri Abdul-Rahim.
That was really good action by Georgia to get that ball screen up top and a little bit of a cross screen inside for Rahim.
Mike White will go 10 deep, and each one gets, between 7 and the rest of the minutes. Reeves baseline, yes. Use that rim as a helper and threw it up and in.
You've got to guard the ball because Georgia is not coming off of Oscar Tshiebwe. That rim protection is not there, so if you can beat your initial defender, Kentucky tonight, you've got some chances at the rim.
Last 3 games for Antonio Reeves, 20, 13, and 18 points. Toppin on Abdul-Rahim. He will stop, fire over Tshiebwe. Contested shot, loose ball. Wheeler goes in underneath Hassan Holt to pick it up. Corner, Reeves, 3 ball. Off the mark, he hit the deck hard.
Was there contact? Was it a flop? I mean, why does Reeves end up on the ground?
They got a mismatch. Hill guarded by Tshiebwe, who claps like he's encouraging this. Hill went globetrotter ball fake, which didn't work. 10 on the shot clock. Oquendo. That's short. Toppin and Tshiebwe fight for it, and they both force each other out of bounds. Take us to break, Sparky.
Well, you got to stay in front of the ball on both ends, but especially if you're Georgia tonight, because they are late coming off of Tshiebwe, because you want to keep him off the offensive glass. If you can drive it and beat your man, look at Tshiebwe. He's got the gravity ability to kind of keep his guy stuck, free up the rim. Well done by Kentucky. Tom, where are you going to be this Saturday? College basketball quadruple header
On ESPN and the app, it starts with these two. Isaiah Wong leading Miami against Kyle Filipowski and Duke. Miami is ranked, Duke is not. And then A&M, they've won 6 straight, taking on Kentucky. Should be a great game. Jimmy Dykes is going to be in Kentucky, handing out books, signing autographs, eating salads for the next 3 days, and looks forward to that Saturday showdown at 2 Eastern.
Why is there a Louisville fan in Rupp Arena tonight and a North Carolina fan? What has the world come to? That's odd, right?
I'm not terribly certain, gentlemen, but I think that Louisville fan might have found a note on a tree.
Yeah,
and it directed him to Rupp here tonight.
The old scavenger hunt.
Oh, yeah. Boy, it's amazing what can happen when you put a note on a tree.
That's an ESPN News Inside the Bubble story, which Jimmy will share in a moment. Hill throws up a wild shot. Follow. Holt no good.
Good job by Wallace to move his feet and show his hands and not foul.
Here's Wheeler, looks for his open man, and now it's Tshiebwe one-on-one.
They're not coming with help. Georgia's not on Tshiebwe tonight. No. And Tshiebwe's
missed a layup that time. Yeah, Wheeler should have had that ball, and he didn't. He comes back, though, and uses those hands, and now numbers for Kentucky. 4-on-3 to Toppin. Yeah. Look out!
I asked if Severe Wheeler would accept his role off the bench and come in and flip the game. So far, 2 in white has embraced it well.
First lead for Kentucky, and those hands of Wheeler again deflect the ball away, and the crowd on its feet.
Rav, you can talk about Wheeler's speed with the basketball. How about his speed without the ball to make a play from behind? Look at Wheeler, no give up, bam. Just with a rip and the run to the other end. Ignites Rupp Arena. Really well done.
He found the right man in the middle there, Jacob Toppin. And for Jacob, those were his first 2 points of the game. Kentucky on top of first time, 14-13.
They struggled last time to get it in, did they not? That wasn't easy.
Abdur-Rahim, that looked like a good shot from his release, and it is a 3-ball that he buries.
One of Georgia's favorite plays, baseline out of bounds unders, get Rahim running to his left shoulder so he's in rhythm on the catch.
Earlier this season, Jimmy hit 5 3-point field goals against Ryder, hit 4 against Florida, Mike White's old team.
He's a big weapon at 6'8". High 30% from that 3-point line. That's Toppin's sweet spot right there. He just missed it, but he lives in that area.
Georgia pushing the pace a little bit in this game, and Roberts getting a foul on Wallace there. Was he holding perhaps? Frank Anselm.
Ravi, to your point about Georgia pushing the pace, as an opposing team, you have to try to score the first 8 seconds of the shot clock. And you do that to keep yourself out of short clock situations on the road where the crowd's roaring and you can't communicate. So I expect Georgia to run hard. Mike White talked about it today with his guys. We got to run hard and look for something that's first 8 seconds. Then we'll settle into our half court.
Rahim threw it up. He got a foul. He'll go to the free throw line to shoot a couple.
Rahim again running to his left as a jump shooter off out of bounds underplays. Running to his right, he's a catch and put it on the deck guy. He's a hard cover at 6'8" and 210. Played his freshman year at Virginia.
Wallace will end up going to the bench. He picks up his second foul. Frederick will come back in, and Abdur-Rahim knocks down his first free throw. You mentioned he played at Virginia. He played 8 games at Virginia in 2021. Out of South Orange, New Jersey, the 6'8" freshman knocks him down.
And Georgia has now made 34 of their last 36 free throws.
Yeah. Abdur-Rahim, that's the last 7 points for Georgia. Wheeler throws it up there. It almost looked like he wanted to throw it to Tshiebwe. He wasn't open, so he ended up throwing it up off the iron.
Yeah, either way, it's the same as a turnover.
Justin Hill, number 11, the transfer from Longwood, 17 off the bench against UAB. Throws that up and misses. And another chance for Kentucky here to run. It's Frederick. Pushes to the corner. Reeves baseline floater. Boy, they practice that shot a lot. They missed that, but Toppin's there for the offensive rebound.
Sometimes, though, the value of getting the ball on the glass in your own first 6 seconds because the defense isn't set. They're out of rotation. and a clean rim run for Jacob Toppin.
Jimmy, Kentucky has 6 offensive rebounds. Georgia has 1. And the body by Roberts is used there. He forced Reeves away, and then he hit the floater. Yeah. Wheeler the other way quickly. Good hands. Reeves is open at the top of the key. They don't see him, and Frederick is spread out on the other side. Wheeler will try to that one-hand shot, and it's hard to control the basketball. We saw a shot against South Carolina with a one-hand, went up over the backboard. Here he lost it out of bounds.
Yeah, for Wheeler tonight, it can't be 2 good plays and 2 bad plays. Yeah. And that's kind of the balance act that you have right now with Wheeler on the floor.
Lance Ware is going to come in. Toppin's going to hit the bench for a while. 8:59 to go, first half. And Georgia up by 4, 2016. Meantime, over on ESPN, Kansas and Kansas State play in overtime with 40 seconds to go there. Kansas by 1, 82-81. How good is Roberts with the basketball? Throws it up with the little running hook shot.
Ravi, he's a magician with the ball. He's so low and so tough. I mean, you feel him as a defender in terms of how he gets his body on you and keeps it on you to create space.
Tshiebwe, boy, the ball got stuck in his hands. Not a good offensive possession for Kentucky at all.
And Georgia very aggressive on their push right now as well. It's a guard-dominated offense for the team in red. Roberts, Oquendo, those guys are downhill drivers. A lot of freedom for Mike White to his guards.
He's a hard guy to stay in front of, and now they got a mismatch. Lance Ware is out there on him, and it's a blow by easily, but he missed the layup. Wheeler bailed out by the official Jeb Hartness.
You got to have a great guard on the road to win tough games. And this kid's really, really good. Roberts already at 6 points. And you have to guard him sometimes, Ravi, 8, 9, 10 dribbles. He's very determined, has a lot of force. Keep him off the line. If he makes hard shots, so be it. But a good start for 0 in red.
Second game of a doubleheader. This is not going to be an easy one for the 25th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. Ricky Council and company take on Kobe Brown in Missouri, 9 Eastern, 8 Central on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Brown's at 15-5, but boy, Missouri, if you look at the SEC statistical categories, they're at near the top of almost all of them, Jimmy.
They are, and Arkansas gave up 63 points in the second half to Vanderbilt on Saturday. Yeah, that's hard to figure, how you allow a team to go over 60.5, and Arkansas has got some questions right now they need to answer. It won't be easy in Columbia.
Georgia shooting 44%, Kentucky 27%. It's the Bulldogs with a 6-point lead here in the first half.
Zone defense by Georgia. Attack that logo. Really well done by Antonio Reeves. Attack it off the pass, attack it off the bounce, get to the SEC logo. Good things happen.
Reeves got 4 now. And Joe Lindsey quickly calls time here. He didn't see something with the clock perhaps that he liked.
I think it's a warning, I think, to Cal out the box.
It was.
Okay.
So that's something to keep an eye on tonight. Not Cal, I mean more the Lindsey Cal thing.
Cal had his swagger back in Knoxville in terms of how hard he was coaching his guys and his body language on the sidelines. And he said today, crisis brings about change. And they had a crisis last Tuesday in this building, and some things changed with that Kentucky program.
Fierro, they do is in. He will now draw Roberts. That shot from Ingram is good, right over Toppin. Jalen Ingram in his 7th year of college basketball.
Georgia has 5 guys, Ravi, that keep you honest defensively in terms of from the 3-point line. And Ingram's one of them. And Georgia has really settled into this game on the road. A huge opportunity for the Bulldogs.
Fierro dribbles and hands off. Here's Toppin now at the top with 8 on the shot clock.
Well, Georgia gives you nothing at the 3-point line, do they? They
no.
give you nothing.
Tshiebwe had it. We're going to keep the ball right here. And they get the foul on Jalen Ingram. And the crowd here at Rupp, a mock cheer after the foul was called against Georgia. Georgia 5 fouls, Kentucky 4 actually. Toppin in the lane. Jimmy, is it me or is Kentucky creating more difficult shots than the original shot they have?
Yeah, they have a little bit. And that's that Georgia overall team speed and quickness that gets you guessing a little bit on the offensive end. There is no back down in this Georgia team. It just jumped off the film at me when I watched them the last 2 days. Aggressive on the glass, tough driving the ball downhill. It got enough shot makers.
That's a bad pass.
Crazy pass by Roberts.
It was right into Adu Thiero, and now he penetrates. Bounce pass baseline. Reeves reverse. He will get fouled and go shoot two. Nice job by Adu Thiero off the bench. Calipari's been a little critical of a couple of guys when it comes to conditioning. Thiero was one of them, and Oscar Tshiebwe was another, saying, hey, I don't see Oscar in the gym as much as we did last year.
Yeah, a little bit of message sent, a big message sent actually to Oscar Tshiebwe. Maybe has lost his edge a little bit, but it's one thing for coach to call you in the office, another thing to call you out.
All right, Boog, thank you very much. Well, Mike White's former player, Keontae Johnson, continues just a remarkable comeback from that medical emergency a few years ago. 20-plus points again for him, and a huge upset win for Kansas State at home over Kansas. Kentucky and Kansas will meet in the SEC Big 12 Challenge.
Ravi, I grew up in Topeka, Kansas. That KU-K-State rivalry, it's not one of the top 4 or 5 in college ball, but it's somewhere in that 6 or 7 range.
Sure.
And watching that thing tonight, the intensity was hot.
Well, we welcome you to Rupp Arena, and a foul against Kentucky. The elbow there from Adu Thiero. Story of our game so far has been Georgia's backcourt. They've been outstanding. Terry Roberts looks like a future pro. He's a freshman. He wears 0 in red. He's been outstanding. And Mike White's first year at Georgia has been a success. 13-4, 3-1 in conference. Kentucky, the Wild Week. A week ago, they lose on their home floor to South Carolina. Then Saturday, they go on the road and knock off a top 5 Tennessee team.
And now the question is, what will Kentucky do tonight? And Severe Wheeler came off the bench. He checked in about 4 or 5 minutes in, flipped the game a little bit, then had a couple of mistakes. The key against Georgia, you're going to talk about it all night long. We will. Can you stay in front of the ball if you're Kentucky? These Georgia guards are tremendous at going to the glass.
Well,
there it is.
They try to stay in front of him, but Cario Oquindo is there to throw it in off the window.
This kid is one of the most explosive athletes in the SEC. Mishandles it a little bit at the three-point line, but such a big, strong body right through the chest of Reeves. Man, if you can't guard the ball, you're in trouble tonight if you're Kentucky, because Georgia also has enough three-point shooters. You have to honest guard. You can't sink in the gaps. And defending that basketball is item number 1 right now for John Calipari.
Georgia has made 34 of their last 36 free throws overall, and Oquindo misses. So that streak will slow a wee bit.
Hey, Ravi, let's talk about Georgia's defense. One of the top 10 in the country, defending the three-point line at 24%. They chase you off the line. They make you bounce it. Kentucky can get no separation early in this game at the three-point line. Single coverage on Tshiebwe.
Goes to his left, lays it up and lays it in over the rim. Oscar Tshiebwe has now got 9 with 8 rebounds.
Single coverage on Tshiebwe, so Mike White is saying, I'm not going to come off and double team and allow your three-point shooters to get going.
Yeah, Roberts dumps it down low, and yes, they are going to get Thiero. It looked like he got him on the arm. And Adu Thiero picks up 2 quick fouls.
So why do you not double team Oscar Tshiebwe? You're going to make him work for his points. He has struggled at times with length. But what you're doing if you're Georgia right now, you're not allowing Tshiebwe to pass the ball out to the three-point shooting, and you're allowing your perimeter guys, Ravi, to stay attached and battle Kentucky on the glass. If you double team, your defense is in a rotation. Therefore, Kentucky can really do damage on the offensive glass. I like the strategy by Mike White early.
First free throw, good. This is a team primarily built out of the portal. When Mike White took over Georgia, Jimmy, he went and he acquired some guys from the portal, really, really good ones. Terry Roberts is the freshman. He was, as even Mike White said, the big get for us. But boy, you can build a team real quick. And he's got a really tough team this season.
Well, and what he's done defensively is tremendous. Georgia was awful last year defensively, Ravi. They were number 318 in the country in defensive efficiency. Mike White comes in as a defensive-minded coach, and right now they're a top 60 team.
Yeah.
So quick, and they make you bounce the ball for those three-point shooters. Again, single coverage again. Just stay attached.
There you go. And Lindsay down the other end. He's been calling that, so this time they get it on Frank Anselm. He picks up his second foul.
Anselm saying that I just had an arm bar on his back.
And they've been calling that.
Yeah, that's a legal defensive play, though. Mike White having the same conversation.
Yep.
Two hands is one thing, an arm bar is different. And there's the arm bar. He's fine. His back's to the basket. Maybe with a grab right there. That's what it was. That left arm comes up, and that's a good call.
Oscar Tshiebwe, a 67% free throw shooter. One of the keys to success that Kentucky had against Tennessee, Jimmy, was their free throw shooting in that game. 22 of 25 free throws in that game.
Yeah. And they needed every one of them. It's interesting to me that John Calipari called the reigning National Player of the Year out, saying you're not spending enough time in the gym.
Yeah.
Has Oscar lost his edge a little bit? I kind of picked up on it the first couple of months of the season. And now Cal is starting to call him back to who you're supposed to be. That tough, rugged, blue-collar, no-one-outworks-me guy, but it can't just be in games, and Cal has called him on it.
He was recovering from that knee injury, and he definitely looked a step slower. He wasn't explosive. That seems to have come back a little bit. You mentioned Tennessee, Jimmy. They were in action tonight, and they beat Mississippi State by 11, 70-59. Wheeler gets called. And the officiating crew of Joe Lindsay, Owen Short, and Jeb Hartness are hearing it here from a packed house at Rupp Arena.
Wheeler is really good at full court ball pressure. But he sometimes can get a little handsy. He's not nearly as good as a half court defender, but he can bother you bringing it up. And he just rode the hip of Roberts, and Owen Short with the call.
8th foul against Kentucky. Georgia's got 7. Roberts knocks him down.
And to your point, you can't foul Georgia. What are they now? They've made, what, 37 out of their last 39?
Well, it was 30 of 32 coming in, Jimmy, and they're 8 of 9, so 38. And 32 plus 9 is what?
Put one down,
41.
41.
Yeah. I love where you're at right now. And I like you back in the analyst role, I'll be honest with you. Tshiebwe off the window a little too strong. You and Jay Billis were terrific.
Just two guys talking ball.
That's all it was. Roberts with the left.
So
boy,
good,
is he
man.
impressive.
He can go right, he can go left. He is probably the best change of speed guard that we have in the SEC right now.
And he's a freshman.
Yeah, man, he drives it. Stop and go ability, draws fouls. He's a tough, tough cover. And he has no back down whatsoever in Rupp Arena. Well done, 0 in red. Bulldogs with a lead.
He dropped the mic and walked away.
End the conversation. But he's right. I mean, we've talked about it. If you can't guard the ball against Georgia, you're in serious trouble. And what you're going to do with Tshiebwe going forward, every team is going to make Oscar Tshiebwe make decisions defensively, guarding ball screens until he proves he can choke you off at that spot.
Jimmy, you said it. That's what John Calipari just said to his team in the huddle. They have to stay in front of the basketball. Terry Roberts is having his way. He told his team, you have got to get back. You have to stop him and make him work in the half court, stay in front of him, because what Georgia wants to do is swing the basketball, drive the basketball, and get fouls.
Yeah, they get you in a defensive rotation, and the game is in this kid's hands. He is so good at dancing with the ball, changing direction, stop first with a blow-by, and he makes a lot of tough layups around the rim going right or left. He's an excellent big-time layup maker with a little bit of a float game as well. Tough cover, hard to guard.
Both of those. Teammates with Oquendo at Florida Southwestern State. You guys said he was a freshman. He's a freshman with the program. He's a senior as far as years go, but this is his first year, and the big get came from the transfer portal. And every opposing coach says about Roberts, real deal. And he has been that again tonight. He's been outstanding with 10 points in 14 minutes. 4 of 6 from the floor. He launches a 3 right on the money. He's got 13.
He's averaging 20 in SEC play. And he is feeling it right now. I mean, Roberts is shaking his head. There's no one on Kentucky's team that can guard me, and I'm not so sure he's not right.
Tshiebwe will shoot it from the free throw line. He knocks that down. Last time we were here, was it Michi Johnson, who looked like Magic Johnson?
Yeah.
And right now, Roberts is feeling that flow.
He reminds me, Roberts does, a little bit of Patrick Beverly when he played at Arkansas.
Yep.
The body, especially defensively. He is a glove on the defensive end of the floor.
Well, that was his former junior college teammate at Florida Southwestern State. He banks it in.
If I'm Kentucky, I go zone. If I'm Kentucky, I go zone in this game because you can't guard Georgia off the bounce right now, man to man.
Shooting 57% as a team, 13 of 23, and they've made 4 of 9 from 3. Livingston a 2, that's no good. Hassan Holt, who of course was at Alabama, now here at Georgia, and Roberts got Livingston on him with 15 on the shot clock.
Just isolate on an island. He doesn't need a ball screen to work off of. That's off.
Off to the right. Tshiebwe gets it, throws it out to Livingston. He'll go one-on-one. And we'll get a block. You just watch the defender try to set himself and absorb contact, but he kept moving backwards. There it is, the Florida Southwestern State team 2021, and Roberts and Oquendo there. And boy, have they combined to make this a very different Georgia team than what we have seen the last couple of years. In fact, the last time they were ranked was 2011.
Well, Roberts now has 2 fouls, and he's going to come out of the game with 2:15 to go in the first half. He's been better off just completely bailing out of the way,
right,
as opposed to backpedaling and didn't get out of the way defensively.
Justin Hill will take his spot, 6 feet, 185, out of Houston, Texas. Another transfer. He's from Longwood. And Jabri Abdul-Rahim comes in as well. So both the guys, Roberts and Oquendo, go to the bench.
And Ravi, it's not, Georgia now has a lineup on the floor. Hill is the primary driver. The other 4 guys can also do something off the bounce, but you've taken Oquendo and Roberts out of the game. If you're Kentucky, if you can't stay in front of the ball now, you're in serious trouble. Hill, number 11 in red, is the main guy.
Jimmy, Alabama's up by 20 on Vanderbilt over on the SEC network, and with Kansas losing, Alabama's going to be right near the top of the next poll, assuming they win on the weekend.
Carl, they're the best team Alabama is in college basketball. Not just because of the number that they're doing tonight, but just watch them play offensively, the future pros, the length, the depth, the defense, everything they have right now. And Georgia starting to carve up Kentucky's man-to-man defense.
How about Braylon Bridges taking it to the big fella who's into the game? We're going to Onyenso. Freshman at 6'11", went right at him. Good bounce pass there. Pretty play by Wallace with a drop-off.
And a great job by Onyenso to get his eyes immediately on the basketball when he rolled out the ball screen. Freshman to freshman, well done.
Can Kentucky stop Georgia's offense? They've got 40 already.
And they double Bridges, and he's a passer. Just missed the shot.
Yeah, hold too strong. Wallace with a box out. Frederick, ball fake, 3. No good.
Boy, they put pressure on you, though, Georgia, don't they? They ran Frederick off, made him sidestep into a 3, and even the second defender was flying. 24% three-point defense by Georgia on the year. They are electric finding the basketball.
What did Mike White tell us earlier today? If C.J. Frederick gets an open 3, he's going to lose his mind.
Yeah.
Wide open underneath. M.A. Moncrief for the flush.
Kentucky cannot guard Georgia man-to-man in this game. And if Calipari has a zone, he may want to play it today because Georgia's guards are getting downhill. The bigs are doing a great job of cutting up 11 are the dogs. Here's the problem for Kentucky defensively. You get this ball to Bridges' hands, hold it right here. Now Toppin is going to go double, and when he does, he's also ball watching, so his guy's just going to make a hard, quick rim cut. And then you don't get on the white line. Even Antonio Reeves is hugged up on the far side, number 12, and White should be on the white line, and Kentucky getting carved up. with passing, with cutting, and the inability to stay in front of the ball.
Kentucky allows about 67 points a game this season. Georgia's 63.
Zone defense by Georgia. This is Toppin's time to shine around that logo area. They will push that zone out to cover up those three-point shooters.
Well, there it is from the free throw line. That shot is way off by Jacob Toppin. Loose ball on the ground and out of bounds. Great hustle there by both Reeves for Kentucky. And also M.A. Moncrief for Georgia.
Toppin was rushed. He shot that ball before he ever caught it. Didn't get his shoulder square, shot it in a hurry. Better watch Frederick out of bounds under right now in this zone defense. He can throw it in and run to the corner for a shot.
Georgia's 42 points ties a season high for points in a first half. 25 and 10 on the shot clock. Wallace needed it.
That's huge. You get the zone to shrink down a little bit on that defense, and a quick find for Wallace.
Last shot of the half coming up. Hill trying to blow by Wallace. Gets to the baseline, threw it, turnover. 2 seconds, 1 second. Wallace throws it up, no good, and it will end the half. Georgia leading 42-34. Roberts has 13 points on 5 of 8 shooting. Marty.
Thank you, Ravi. Coach, how do you assess your team's performance?
Got to stop the dribble drive. We're turning sideways and got to make some shots.
Thank you, Coach. There you have it, Ravi. Stop the dribble drive, make a few shots.
Yeah, not exactly a mic drop, but a walk-off for sure. And a lot of work to do during the halftime. 55% from the floor, Georgia. And they're doing what South Carolina did, just differently. They lead by 8. Here is Zubin, Alfonso, and Seth. Progressive, Marty Smith, Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch, 42-34, Georgia leading Kentucky. And we chronicled it. You saw it all the time. Senior Terry Roberts, the transfer out of Bradley, Jimmy, 20 of their 42 points come in the paint. They are getting by every defender one-on-one.
Mike White told us today, I do know this, my guys will fight for 2 hours in Rupp tonight. So far, so good. They have been tremendous. Georgia has been, Ravi, off the bounce. And it's Roberts and Oquendo have done most of the damage. And you think, well, why can't we guard the ball? First of all, Kentucky's not great at guarding the ball one-on-one. But that Georgia offense, how they spread the floor, 4 different guys for Georgia have made a three-point shot. So you can't just shrink the floor completely and get in the gaps. If you do, now Georgia starts firing the 3-ball on you. But the biggest issue for Kentucky right now is staying in front of the dadgum basketball. Roberts, Oquendo doing major damage. Tshiebwe's getting his. He's got 14 and 9 because Georgia's not doubling down. They're not firing is what they call it. They're allowing Tshiebwe to go to work, but they're taking away the perimeter shooting of Kentucky so far.
And the field goal percentage tells the story. 56% Georgia is from the floor. Kentucky at 33%. And even worse, 28% from 3, which is right on brand for Georgia and their defense. They shut you down from outside. We'll see if a halftime talk from Calipari will do anything. We'll get Marty Smith's thoughts in just a minute as well. There was a South Carolina loss at home last Tuesday and a win over Tennessee as Tshiebwe starts with a baseline jump hook.
And the defense stays the same for Georgia to start with. One-on-one isolation for Tshiebwe, let him get his, but we're keeping you off the three-point line, and we're trying our best to keep you off the offensive glass.
Oquendo, testing shot, and it is blocked out of bounds. We're going to get a foul, too, underneath. And they're going to call that against M.A. Moncrief. Marty?
Gentlemen, as you eloquently stated, Terry Roberts has been unguardable so far here in the first half. I talked to Mike White. He said he loves the tempo that Roberts is playing with. Aggressive, not erratic, and that gives them an opportunity on every possession. We have a chance, he said. He feels like their transition defense has been good, but it must be better. He feels like their defensive rebounding has been good. It must be better as we see Oscar Tshiebwe with an opportunity for an and one. Lastly, Mike White said to me, their entire motto, let's just be a little bit better in the second half so we have a shot at the end of this thing.
The foul's on Braylon Bridges. The same way that Kentucky couldn't stop Roberts, Georgia's having a whole hard time trying to stop 34.
Well, they're going to get a whole lot of Oscar Tshiebwe in the second half if they continue with their single coverage. I mean, Tshiebwe's tracking a 32 and 20 game.
Yeah.
Will that be enough? He's got to get a little bit of help offensively.
He's got 19 points. Frederick, Wallace, Toppin, Tshiebwe, and Livingston on the floor.
Trying to sit hard on that right hand of Roberts is Wallace. Got him on an island. Roberts will go to work.
10 seconds to go. That's a very good defensive position by Wallace. Went straight up, and he caused the problem on the shot.
Yeah, got his elbows by his ears, took the foul out of the game.
Frederick into the lane, another floater in and out. He's having a rough time shooting tonight. Is C.J. Frederick. He's 0 for 4.
And Reeves and Frederick, they got to make shots. That's their #1 job description. This
That's
kid's
a dagger right there. Roberts knocks down a 3.
Mike White, there's a reason why he loves the rhythm that Roberts is playing in. He's not too fast.
Yeah.
Kentucky hasn't sped him up. He's getting anything he wants in this game.
He's got 16 points and 2 threes now. Deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with Kentucky. I mean, that's a personal challenge, right? From a coaching staff to the defensive player. You have got to stay in front of him. Can you do it?
It's very difficult. And I talked about Kentucky. They have a zone in their back pocket. It's a 2-3 zone. And if this lack of staying in front of the ball continues, you would expect Kentucky to give it at least a chance.
Frederick still no good. Tshiebwe offensive rebound and authoritative flush.
Just a monster, is he not? And he is so good at understanding weak side rebound.
4-point game. That one is off to the left, and this time it's Toppin with a rebound. Chance to cut it to 1 with a 3. Toppin, that's off. Tshiebwe had a hand on it, but it's Georgia coming away with it. Ooh, late whistle there, and the crowd didn't like it. Calipari's got his arms up in the air. C.J. Frederick gets called with a block.
Ravi, we have seen more of these plays this year because officials have been told, read the play, don't guess, take your time, see the play to the finish. And I think that's why you saw a little bit of a late call, because Frederick looked like he's still sliding over to the right just a little bit. It was a late whistle, not a popular call. But again, Georgia, they're going to be aggressive now. The first 8 seconds, they're coming at you. And from there, the ball gets in the hands of Roberts in the half court.
Ardrez McBride's free throw is no good.
That's about as close of a call as you can have live to make. I mean, did Frederick get set at the last split second? Possibly. Was he also sliding to the right a little bit?
Boy, rare double free throw miss, and there's another foul. This time it's going to be against Georgia, and it's M.A. Moncrief. That's his second. Kentucky's got a little momentum thanks to Tshiebwe to start this second half.
And now defensively, this is huge on the road. It's going to sound very simple, but it's important. Georgia has to talk, and they have to listen. Both things have to be in play right now in this building for Georgia on the defensive end. Or just smothering Frederick, are they not?
Yeah, Tshiebwe down in the paint. Goes with the left hand. Up and a foul! And Oscar Tshiebwe has taken over in the second half.
I thought he traveled as well. Mike White saying the same thing. I think Tshiebwe shifted his pivot foot. He picks it up. There's 1, 2, 3. That's a travel. But the problem now Mike White has is he's going to stay with this single isolation guarding Tshiebwe. And is Tshiebwe going to put up monster numbers in this game, enough to carry Kentucky to a win?
Oscar Tshiebwe in recent weeks has implored his teammates as he gets the rebound and a three-pointer. Frederick nails the 3. Tshiebwe told me today it's shoot around. We got a timeout, Ravi. We got a timeout.
We do. We got a loud timeout. Tshiebwe celebrating. Kentucky's grabbed the lead. A 7-0 run over the last 55 seconds for the Wildcats. 55, a 7-0 run, Jimmy, to start.
Ravi, this is a big play. Oscar Tshiebwe travels. You're going to watch, he sticks that left foot down, which becomes his pivot foot. And then he's going to stick it down again. That is a travel. And Roberts, Zero in Red's calling the same thing. The call was not made. And Mike White spent probably a minute of the timeout right in the ear of Joe Lindsey and Owen Short. And I'm sure the message sent is, I know the guy's good, the National Player of the Year, but he can't have an advantage with his feet with the travel. So the message has been sent now from Mike White, who expects to win this game. Mike White took over a program last year that was 1-17 in this league and has flipped their mentality. But right now, that shot by Frederick has flipped this game.
Shooters are going to shoot. Frederick's first 3 of the night. He's 1 of 6 from the floor. Tshiebwe, 23 and 12. And Roberts has been a little quiet here in the second half. He's got 16 and the ball.
Georgia likes to set a ball screen and duck in, and Tshiebwe is having no part of it down low.
Yeah, over Toppin, tough shot. Tshiebwe picks up his 13th rebound.
They had to take that jump shot because Tshiebwe blew up the duck in inside.
It's Kentucky's first lead since it was 14-13.
Spain stack. Frederick's going to pop.
Yeah, Tshiebwe camps out again. They can't get it to him with 10 on the shot clock. Toppin baseline, spins in the middle, throws it up, and actually threw it down. Tshiebwe has it. No foul, and shot clock expires right there. Good defense that time by Georgia. They smothered Oscar.
Yeah, now putting traffic around Oscar on the touch. We'll see if that adjustment continues.
You'll see here how active Chris Livingston was on this rebound. He taps it, gets his hand on it. Oscar grabs it, and it's out to C.J. Frederick for the three-pointer. In the huddle during that timeout, John Calipari was applauding Chris Livingston's active hands. And at that moment, C.J. Frederick stood up, looked at his teammates, and said, guys, this game is about one thing, and that thing is defense. We have to get stops consistently.
Well, he just lost his man on the defensive end, and a pull-up jump shot is made by Abdul Rahim.
Yeah, Frederick has become the vocal leader of this team, though. And you trust his fight, and you trust his care probably as much as anyone right now if you're a Kentucky fan.
Tshiebwe, baseline, too easy for him. Went right by his man. There's no answer for Oscar Tshiebwe right now as Anselm got beat.
I'm just wondering when Mike White will have to change his individual defense and start firing on Tshiebwe.
Toppin the big block. A little bit out of control by Roberts that time. Livingston takes it hard to the rack, and Kentucky has pushed their lead now to 3.
You talk about playing a physical game on the offensive end. That's what Livingston just did. We talk about being physical defensively. He was awfully physical with that forceful drive.
Livingston has 4. Where will Georgia's offense come from? Tshiebwe commits the foul way outside on Anselm. And for Oscar, that's his second.
Ravi Livingston is a 12% three-point shooter in conference play. So instead of shooting one from the corner, he makes the play out of the corner. Toppin dives out of his way, just right through the chest, heavy contact with force. Kentucky starting to find themselves.
All right, we take a look at the Capital One rewarding performance, Jimmy.
Well, when the head coach calls you out on a statewide radio show and says, Oscar's got to get back in the gym and go back to work, it probably gets your attention a little bit. And Tshiebwe now with an edge in this ball game with 25 points and 15 rebounds. I said he's tracking a 32 and 20 game. He might go beyond that. Georgia doesn't have one guy that can hold him one-on-one on the low block. Very few teams do. Will Mike White change and go back to doubling the post, which typically what he does? He calls it firing on the post, and try to slow down Tshiebwe a little bit and see if Kentucky can make him pay, make this guy a passer, because right now it's man amongst boys when 34 has the ball.
With Kentucky taking the momentum here, gentlemen, Mike White just looked at his team in the huddle and said, respond, baby, respond. Do what we do. And assistant coach Eric Pastrana then stood up and said, believe in what we do. Believe in what we do, it will work.
Well, what they did in the first half was rely on Terry Roberts a lot. He's sitting here with 16 points. No one else is in double figures. And this is Roberts. And he lost the ball for a second and threw it up, and he drew the foul, so he'll go to the free throw line. Well, there's no panic in the way he plays. And obviously being a veteran with his play at Bradley and now here, you can just see there's a calmness about him on the floor, Jimmy.
So what do we do? Well, they are a downhill driving, one-on-one, hard-nosed bunch of dudes talking about Georgia. They typically gang rebound pretty well. Now, Kentucky's punking them on the glass right now to the tune of 30-18. Kentucky has 12 offensive rebounds. But if you're Georgia, you have to stay airtight on your three-point defense and have some type of resistance on Oscar Tshiebwe.
Antonio Reeves is in the game. Frederick goes to the bench. Livingston getting some more minutes too, and we've seen him be a little more aggressive. Good game here, 50-49, 14 and a half to play.
It's a Georgia program that won one game last year in SEC, 1-17.
Right.
And Mike White has his guys believing they can win in Rupp Arena with 14 to go.
Reeves into the game, and he buries a three. Right off the bench, right into the bucket. Oh, blow by Roberts to Tshiebwe. Throws it up too hard. Oh, and it's out of the bounce off of Oscar Tshiebwe. Boy, back-to-back action we had there. How about Reeves, Jimmy, coming off the wood and knocking down a three?
Yeah, it's a 2-3 zone by Georgia. Watch Toppin flash. And he does a tremendous job of finding Reeves on the backside. Watch the flash by Toppin to the logo. That's where you attack zones. Catch it, read the defense, survey the play. What's it say? It says right here you got a shooter coming out. And Antonio Reeves catches it. A catch and stick guy finally catches and sticks one.
Reeves has got 9. Oquindo's back into the game. He's got 7. Cario Oquindo.
You know, you probably went zone. Oh, wow.
Bad
what a pass.
yeah.
Bad pass.
Livingston will go right into Oquindo, throw it up, and they're going to get a travel on Livingston. These are 2 football players here, Jimmy.
Yeah, he did. He traveled before he ran over Oquindo. It's a good call by Joe Lindsay. Ball gets stuck, hung up on him, takes that extra step. Joe Lindsay sprinting on the side in position to make the call. Well, he's got some shake, does he?
He does, and he's got some bake as he knocks down a 3 and goes to his fingers because they are smoking hot. Roberts, 5 big points. He's got 21.
And he started 31 games for Bradley last year, averaged almost 15 points a game. He has 0 back down. Georgia now goes zone. I think primarily to try to cover up Tshiebwe and put him in traffic.
Yeah, good ball movement that time, and a cutting Toppin lays it up off the glass.
Toppin is such a phenomenal cutter against the zone from the weak side to ball side.
Georgia's got 3 ball handlers in Oquindo, Roberts, and Hill on the floor right now. They're going to make a change shortly as it looks like Anselm is going to come in. Roberts the handoff, and Wallace too close to him, and he picks up the foul. Third on Wallace.
Ravi, watch Toppin right here operate in the middle of that zone. He knows if you win the nail, and Toppin wins the nail right there, catches on the nail, and the seal off by Tshiebwe. Really well done by Kentucky in their zone offense.
And a hot potato too, because Livingston got it and got rid of it real quick. Wallace will go to the bench with that 3rd foul. Wheeler back into the game. And Roberts right over him, and that one is off the iron. Livingston with a rebound.
Roberts just blew a shoe, and he put it back on. How talented was that?
Bad pass there. Good defense too. Anselm, he had it. And Wheeler tried to throw it to him. Roberts, this time he kicks. And a 3 is knocked down. Good extra pass. Justin Hill buries the 3.
I can't tell you how much I have fallen in love with Terry Roberts in this game. He's got the downhill drives both directions. He's got the step back 3s. He's got the IQ to understand swing results in a 3. Georgia right back tied. This is a talented kid. Terry right, look, blows his shoe out, no hands, sticks his foot back in.
No panic either.
No panic, resumes play, and about 15 seconds later, there it is. Keep the ball moving, swing it, bam, there's my buddy Hill. Rise, fire, release, and Georgia ties it back up at 55.
Justin Hill scored 17 off the bench against UAB, and he can be instant offense when he steps into the game, and Roberts knows that. All-around great game for Roberts, 21 points. He's made all 4 free throws. His career high is 26. He did that at Bradley and also against Auburn this season. High-flying Wallace throws it down.
Yeah, sometimes you have to attack back.
Wow. They do. Oquindo attack back and some rim rattlers.
Mike White told his guys today when they score the first 8 seconds, we are coming at Kentucky. Message sent and received by Oquindo.
57-57. Frederick kicks. Wallace will launch. That's a little short. And the battle for the rebound is won by Georgia. Here's Roberts.
Georgia's so fast recovering the three-point shooter.
Roberts, offensive foul.
That is his third. That's a big foul with 11:50 to go.
Sure is. We'll take a timeout, and the roof at Rupp is starting to shake a little bit because the rims are starting to shake. Kaysen Wallace with a flush, and then seconds later down the other end, Oquendo shakes the house. What a game on a Super Tuesday. Tied at 57. The headlines last week. What is wrong with Kentucky basketball, and what happens now? New low with the loss to the worst-rated team, and the fall of Kentucky is here. And then they go and beat Tennessee. They cancel the obituary. Stunning Tennessee, number 5. Vindication for Calipari. And where are we now? We're in a tie game with a Georgia team that is much improved on your home floor at Rupp Arena, 57-57. As he said after the South Carolina loss, I've been here, I've done this, I'm not worried, but you, looking at all his players, have got to learn to fight. I'll fight, I'm not going anywhere. And it doesn't appear as if that is going to happen. Calipari is here, and the long-term contract is real, and he's got a terrific recruiting class coming next year. And maybe it's about the teams in this league getting a little bit better. They kick it with 10 on the shot clock. And Wallace and Frederick with Reeves on the floor, moving around the perimeter. Gets the screen and he buries it. He has got such a quick release.
And Mike White has changed how he's covering Tshiebwe, because that time the double team came from the baseline, made Tshiebwe a passer. First time we've seen it all game.
Big part of this game, Jimmy. 11.25 to go. Roberts is on the bench with 3 fouls. Will Georgia be able to stick with Kentucky until he comes back in? Oquendo, that's no good. Toppin goes up and rips it off the glass.
Yeah, how much do you trust Roberts to play with 3 fouls? He's such a vital part. I think Mike White will talk to him about it and get him back in. I'd get him in now within the next minute.
Wallace, be careful. Bang. That goes down, and Kentucky very, very hot here in the second half. Very different than the first half.
And look who's on the floor. It's Wallace, Reeves, and Frederick.
Yep.
Stretching that Georgia defense out.
67% from the floor. Reeves, this will send the place into a complete state, but he threw it too long off the iron. Roberts is sitting on the bench, so at least for the moment, you and White are not on the same page about bringing him back in.
Mike's probably trying to get to the next media timeout, the 8-minute mark. But he did go down and talk to Terry. That last possession.
One-on-one with Tshiebwe, takes him, and that's an easy block. That should be a shot clock violation. Yeah, that ball was blocked. It never got to the rim, and the shot clock reset itself.
With the help of someone pushing a button.
Here at Rupp, some things don't make a lot of sense.
Watched it. Where's the shot clock when he can't see it? Can't see the where it was. 3. Ravi, I talked about it earlier. Crisis brings change, and it was a crisis in here last Tuesday. Shot goes up, never hits the rim. It's secured by Georgia with 3 on the shot clock. That's probably where they will reset it. But what change did it bring to Kentucky? We talked about it, Tennessee. They fought, man. They got downhill. They got to the free throw line. They converted. They out-rebounded a very physical Tennessee team. Kind of old-school coaching by Calipari, getting away from any type of finesse stuff. They're going to have to do the same thing right now with under 10 to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of that victory over Tennessee and the fight, I spoke with UK assistant coach Chin Coleman today, who got emotional towards the end of that victory over the Volunteers. The reason, the brotherhood, the value and the outcome of committing to shared sacrifice. Coleman told me that the Wildcats had a pair of therapeutic sessions ahead of Tennessee. He called them therapeutic sessions. I think they were more come to Jesus meetings based on talking to the players. But what happened within those 2 meetings was a galvanizing force. They galvanized each other rather than being energy vampires, which they believed that they had been. He said they believe in this team. They know the personnel they have and that they have not lived up to their potential. They opened up to one another in those meetings and decided enough is enough. It changed everything, Coleman told me. Now the Wildcats have to sustain it, and he admitted in this league, that'll be really damn hard.
Draw a line. At some point, you just have to draw a dadgum line.
1 second on the shot clock, and out of the break, they get a layup. There was 1 second put back on the clock, and they managed to score 2 points.
Ravi, that is ridiculously good by Georgia to put Oquendo in a foot race to the ball and to win the race. You know how hard that is to do, a score with 1.
Frederick, good ball fake. Then he fires a 3. That one's off to the right, and the rebound for Georgia. See what they do. First 8 seconds of every trip, they want to try to score a bucket. Roberts back on the floor. Long 3, way off. Yeah, the only thing harder than scoring with 1 second on the shot clock is trying to think of all the subjects Marty touched on that soliloquy. We had vampires, come to Jesus meetings. We had a lot of stuff going on.
Energy givers and takers. There's that double team by Tshiebwe, making you a passer, and he delivers to Toppin. Let's go back to that 1 second play. Toppin just gets abused by Oquendo. Watch out here in the corner. It's going to be a shove and a foot race to the ball, and 3 and red's going to win it. What? A little bit of a shove off, not much. A foot race to the ball, and CJ Frederick doesn't take away the rim. And Oquendo makes him pay. What a terrific play call to get your best athlete streaking to the rim.
But I mean, as a defender, 1 second on the shot clock, isn't that the one thing you have to guard against?
Toppin was in the absolute worst position defensively you can be in with 1 second. He was on the high shoulder, almost inviting Oquendo to a foot race, which he lost. Yeah, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. You know, the other thing that Cal did before Tennessee, he took every player's phone the night before the game and got them off social media, got them off text messages, and got them locked in. And I just want you and Marty to know, next Monday night in Fayetteville, turn your phone in to me at my house before the Super Tuesday game in Bud Walton, and we will have much more focus ready to play.
Is that an invite to your house, too?
Just to turn in the phone.
No. Oquendo takes it hard. He's going to pick up the foul on Reeves.
What a hard right-hand driver this dude is. He and Roberts both, but Roberts can go left a little better, and Oquendo is just a fantastic bulldog bowling ball going to the rim down that right pipe.
And go over to Lex Live and do your bowling expedition again?
Possibly, if we have to.
Oquendo after his 11th point. And he gets it. Our star-studded NBA Wednesday doubleheader. Hawks are in Dallas. They get the Mavs at 7:30. And then the Mile High City, the Western Conference leading Nuggets hosting the Timberwolves. The Nuggets share the sugar with the best teams in the league. They are fun to watch. They pass the ball. They shoot it fairly well. Old school Denver Nugget Dan Issel type basketball. That's on Wednesday.
Oquendo had 22 last year in Rupp Arena. He's up to 12 right now. Wallace, man, he's starting to feel it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that's what you thought Wallace would be this year, just a physical guard with that pull-up jump shot.
He's got 12. Reeves has 11. Tshiebwe 25.
Kentucky icing that side ball action right now for Georgia, making it tough for Roberts to get reversed.
They're going to call a trip on Jacob Toppin. It looked as much as if M.A. Moncrief lost his footing, but if there's contact with the feet, he stepped on his foot.
Yeah. Stepped on it, still's a trip right there. Just that foot block, Owen Short, right around the baseline as that lead official staring right down at it.
Here's Roberts with Wallace on him. He looks up at the clock, sets himself again.
Put him on an island, let him go to work.
Pulls up. That ball was deflected by Tshiebwe. Moncrief wins the battle for the rebound, and they have it picked off. Here's Tshiebwe. Lays it up and in. No foul, but he laid it up and in. Boy, there appeared to be contact on that layup by Oscar. A 7-point Kentucky lead.
It looked to me like a dangerous foul, actually, on Tshiebwe for an airborne player to have that much contact.
Largest lead, and they're going to call Oscar Tshiebwe underneath with the hold.
Zach Edey is the leading candidate for National Player of the Year, but last year's Player of the Year just made plays that makes you think maybe this guy can make a run at it. And that's a lot of arm contact on Tshiebwe as an airborne player, but regardless, man, message sent from Cal to Tshiebwe last night on the radio show, and 34 has delivered. A monster game by Tshiebwe with 27 and 16.
Far less than it was in the first half. This half they are 6 of 17. Meantime, Kentucky the other way is shooting 64%. Xavier Wheeler's minutes have been reduced dramatically. We've seen a lot of Wallace and Frederick on the floor at the same time with Reeves. And the positive signs for Kentucky, Jimmy, to me anyway, the play of Reeves. I think tonight for sure Livingston has had some good minutes. We've seen him be far more aggressive. And with the exception of Roberts and Oquendo, the problem for Mike White tonight has been where else is the offense coming from?
Well, the lineup that has heavy minutes tonight for Cal is Toppin, Tshiebwe, Frederick, Wallace, and Reeves. They produce at Tennessee, and they're producing again tonight. And that's probably going to be your heavy minute guys going forward if this lead holds up. Ravi, the SEC, it's a athletic, massive athletic league, and built on defense this year. 6 teams in the top 25 defensive efficiencies, leads the nation. The Big 12 has 4, the Big 10 has 4, the SEC with 6.
5-point ball game, 8 on the shot clock, and pressure from Roberts out top. Reeves is going to have to shoot it with 2. Fires it up, no good. Tshiebwe in traffic has it, up with it, and a foul.
Finish your sentence first.
I was going to say, boy, he finds the ball, and the ball finds his hands, and there's a lot of others trying to do the same thing.
You know why, though? Because the drive's going down the right side, and Tshiebwe runs to the left side. You say, well, that's simple. Watch a lot of big guys. It's follow the ball or run to the same side of the rim. Not Tshiebwe, man. He's constantly fighting for those backside boards.
Bridges picks up his 4th foul as Tshiebwe's first free throw is good. He's done a decent job at the line tonight. He's 8 of 10. He's got 28 points and 17 rebounds. His career high is 30 points, Jimmy.
I said in the first half he was tracking a 32-point and 20 rebound game, and he's right there. Can never lose your edge as a team or as a player. I don't think Oscar maybe lost it a little bit, and Cal called him on it. And this big cat has responded.
He's got 29. That's a season high.
I talked to Cal Saturday night after his win at Tennessee on the phone on the drive to Atlanta after my Alabama game. He was so happy for his kids and the celebration that they believe 100% in John Calipari as their head coach.
Moncrief, spin move. Whoa! What a block by Toppin. Moncrief exploded to the basket, and Toppin matched him. You just talked about the athleticism.
That's it.
There it is.
You don't find dudes like that in other leagues. Cal's
my gosh, Joe Lindsay just called Calipari for being out of the box.
This will take some separation.
Toppin and Frederick are the first 2 over there to keep him where he is. He got the warning in the first half. Well, that was an interesting one, Jimmy, because he was down where his players are, and he may have leaked onto the floor, but if so, it's barely.
Yeah, there it is right there. He's clearly standing on the floor. And yeah, well,
he's out there.
You've got to make the call.
Yeah, he's out there.
Yeah, he was at the 3-point line. He was the 6th offensive player. Decent shooter, not a great driver. They do throw it to him. Look right here. There he is. He's on the 3-point line. You have to make the call if you're Joe Lindsay.
Roberts missed the free throw. Stays a 7-point lead. Toppin off the side of the backboard on a contested shot. Not a good trip down the floor for Kentucky.
Good job by Onyenso to get inside of Tshiebwe on that backside.
Roberts, that's an extra step. But the call is on the floor. Foul on Toppin. It's been a rough night for Lindsey, Short, and Hartness, the three officials here at Rupp Arena.
Yeah, hard game to call. The athletes and the quickness on the floor. And there's the contact before the travel. Again, it's the right call, not a popular call in Rupp. This kid has a foulable game, Terry Roberts does. He averages right at 8 free throw attempts per game.
Well, they've made a living, Jimmy, from the free throw line all season, and tonight they've now missed 6. The lead is 7. They've missed 6 free throws. Reeves. Too strong. Look at Oscar Tshiebwe, and he will get fouled. This is as assertive as we've seen Oscar this year, and we've seen a lot of Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yeah, he is a man on a mission right now in Rupp Arena. And he called out his team last week, saying to Coach Cal, put the walk-ons in if guys don't want to fight. Now, has he been perfect? Absolutely not. He's been a disaster as a ball screen defender up until tonight. But he has certainly sent a message to his teammates and to this crowd. Kentucky is not dead yet.
After his 30th point of the night to go with 19 rebounds. And he's been very good from the free throw line, making 9 of 11 shots.
So uncommon for a massive guy like he is, with tremendous strength, to have such soft paws. I mean, even on that one, I think he tipped it to himself first a little bit. But his body control and his soft paws, and that just brute strength, you're trying to move a refrigerator. Impossible.
6'9", 260. Too strong with the second one. So he sits there with 30 points, 19 rebounds for 30. Matches a career high. 8-point lead. And Oquendo threw one up wildly, and there's your 30 and 20 for Oscar Tshiebwe. Rebound number 20.
Just a hard shot by Oquendo. You're trying to drive the first side of the floor. Get Kentucky to defensive rotation if you're Georgia right now, and have a little patience.
Frederick open 3, short.
Good floppy action by Frederick, the ones you got to make.
Oh my goodness, Oquendo explodes.
I'm telling you, there are plays made in this league that you don't see in the ACC, the Big 10, or the Big 12. Athletes everywhere.
That was a bit of a fake. Oquendo looked like he was going with Wallace, just laid it up. You're waiting for a big dunk. Instead, a finger roll and a blow-by on the offensive end. Not good defense from Georgia.
A team that has made tremendous strides last year, number 318 in the country defensively, now in the top 60. They got to dig in. They need stops, Georgia does right now.
8-point advantage for the Wildcats. 4.5 to go, and Oquendo spins again, throws it up. They call that on Reeves. Yeah, they did. Boy, Oquendo looked like he was going to go with his left hand and lay it off the glass.
That explosiveness. Nope. I mean, his leg strength, his calves literally are bigger than my thighs. Just an explosive, athletic guy that has gone from a 26% three-point shooter last year, now in the mid-30s, has more of a complete game. And Georgia needs every free throw attempt right now to drop.
Reeves, 3rd foul. Oh my goodness, what a difference for Georgia tonight. They had been a terrific free throw shooting team, coming in about 75%, and it has hurt them tonight. 5 of 11 in the second half. Great action at Rupp Arena on this Super Tuesday. Kansas State knocked Kansas off earlier. Georgia trying to do the same on the floor of Kentucky.
This will be a Toppin touch at some point against this zone. He can screen it, he can flash, but he's the playmaker inside that zone.
There it is. Up to Wallace, 3 on the kick from Toppin, and they're going to keep it here. Oscar ended up with it in his hands. So he grabbed the rebound, even though there was a foul on Jabri Abdul-Rahim.
Just literally moves people out of the way legally to Tshiebwe. His eyes are always tracking the ball, but his feet are always going towards the rim. And there's no contact that can keep this guy from getting to the front.
.31 points and a new career high. College Hoop quadruple header Saturday, ESPN. We got these two games to kick things off. Isaiah Wong, Jim Larinaga, the Miami Hurricanes, 17th in the country, taking on an unranked Duke team. And then A&M, and I know you're high on A&M. They've won 6 in a row. Into tonight, taking on Kentucky. That's a huge day of hoops on Saturday. Those are the first two of a quadruple header.
Ravi, that A&M team is playing like they did last year in the SEC tournament. They are a feisty bunch of guys defensively. Wade Taylor's a terrific guard. They could bring a 7-game win streak in here if they beat Florida tomorrow night. That will be a major, major matchup in this league Saturday afternoon.
Abdul Rahim, 3, too strong. And Toppin went up sky high to rip down another rebound. Jacob Toppin now in double digits. He's got 11 rebounds.
Good challenge by Kentucky to get out to a 6'8 shooter that can make guarded shots. And Cal will work this play clock down.
It's a big trip here. They're up 8, 3.5 to go. Now 3:20.
Just running Frederick out floppy action. Every team runs it. Here comes a double. Pass it. Get it out of there.
Toppin, yeah, that's going to be a foul on Oquendo as Toppin got wiped out in the paint. We'll take a timeout. 3 minutes, 15 seconds to go. It's Kentucky off that Tennessee win, trying to do it again tonight.
Kentucky can finish this one off.
All right, Scotty, thank you very much. Look forward to the program. And he's right, a lot of great college basketball and the rest of the world of sports. Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravitch, Marty Smith back. That's why the game is special. Marty's back with us, Jimmy, here on a Super Tuesday. Will be with us the rest of the way.
The band is back together.
I am just waiting on my invitation to hop in first class on Jimmy's jet, go wherever I want to. You know, you can't hide money. And Jimmy's jet, I mean, look, Dykes has all the paper. You're buying dinner tonight. Well, I guess it's midnight, so our midnight snack is on you, Jack.
He's threatened a Waffle House run for us.
Let's go. We'll see Trevor Lawrence there.
Yeah, we will. Roberts.
Stand in the eye of the storm and deliver what that cat did.
Yeah, they're going to check this. It looked like there was some elbows there. Wallace may have taken one off the mouth. Keep an eye on Braylon Bridges. They get locked up there.
And there's possible
hook and hold there.
Hold. F1 when that elbow rises up to contact right there on Case and Wallace. There's a lot going on. Two guys dancing in the lane. And Bridges trying to hold off, but he gets that elbow up into the neck area of Case and Wallace is one thing you're going to be looking at. Then the possible hook and hold. That's how Zach Edey gets defended every time for Purdue, by the way. He gets fouled every single possession. I call him Shaq Edey because that's who he is in the college game, the leading candidate for the National Player of the Year against Michigan State.
Well, Matt Painter called a terrific play yesterday in that game against Michigan State. And Zach Edey basically got it in the paint and threw the ball down into the net. It wasn't even a dunk. He just dropped it in the net.
Simple play, right? Run the block, post up, catch it, turn and score. And there's no answer defensively for Zach Edey. Those freshman guards are good, but the reason why they're good is because they're playing with a guy that's different than everybody else in the college game. Like Joe and Owen Short have come up with their solution.
Joe Lunardi, of course, gets more and more popular as we move towards March in his bracketology, Jimmy. This was a league that at one point had maybe 7 teams that were projected to get into the tournament. Right now, there are 5. Kentucky is on the first 4 outline. And a win tonight, according to Joe, would move them into the field. And obviously, there's a whole bunch of season left, Jimmy. But Kentucky in an odd position at this point in the season as a first 4 out.
Yeah, and they weren't even within reach of my Jet prior to that win at Tennessee. It's going to be a common foul on Cason Wallace, 22 in white, and nothing escalated above that. An absolute must makes right now by Braylon Bridges.
He's 6 for 6, and now he's 6 for 7. And that one really didn't have a chance. It didn't get up over the rim, I should say. Tshiebwe, Jimmy's got a career high 30. 3 times he did it last year. The last player in the SEC that have a 30 and 20 game was Sedarius Thornwall with South Carolina.
Wow. It's been a while.
And he went for 44 and 21 in that game.
I said he was tracking 32 and 20 the way Georgia was covering him. And Tshiebwe saw the same thing.
31 and 21. Georgia goes into a press here with 2:50 to go.
Normally it's a tempo press. That time is a little bit more aggressive. See if Wallace would cough one up.
Wallace pulls up. That's too strong. And a quick shot. There's a steal by Reeves. Tshiebwe, watch out. And a foul.
Those 5 guys right there in that huddle for Kentucky. That's Kentucky's team going forward, in my opinion. Defensively, they're big, they're physical, they're playing well together. Reeves just anticipates, gets his eyes back instead of turning blindly and running. A really smart play by Reeves on the cutback for the interception.
A rare miss tonight for a guy that's done everything right. Oscar Tshiebwe, 33 points, 21 rebounds, and a 10-point Kentucky lead with 2.5 to go. Hill to Holt on the baseline. Now in the paint. Fires up a shot. Tshiebwe, 22nd rebound.
Ravi Wallace has done a really good job in the second half.
Yes, he has.
Staying in front of Roberts.
Sure has.
You're asking a lot from a true freshman to take on a guy that's played 4 years of college ball that's phenomenal getting downhill. And Wallace has 1 more than he's lost in the second half.
And you mentioned the 5. Frederick still on the floor. How about a night in which C.J. Frederick is 1 of 8? And Oscar's having a real good time tonight. A lot more smiles on his face than we've seen most of the season.
But Ravi, the threat of Reeves on one side of the floor and Frederick on the other. Now you got isolation on the inside for Tshiebwe. And Kentucky has made Georgia pay with that single coverage tonight. As Kentucky found their groove. Took a huge step in Knoxville on Saturday. 2 minutes away from another big one tonight before A&M rolls in here on Saturday. Then a week from Saturday, the Kansas Jayhawks come in here. A chance for Kentucky to make another national statement.
Toppin is near a double-double with 9 points and 11 rebounds. But a night of nights for Oscar Tshiebwe. He continues to add to his career high. 35 points, 22 rebounds. A massive effort for last year's Player of the Year in the country. Roberts, no finger roll. That time Tshiebwe was there to bother him.
You and I are impressed with Georgia. Those 2 guards are a handful. Defensively, they fight. Not enough juice tonight to win in Rupp Arena. Kentucky had a lot of answers, as this thing was not going their direction in the first half. But they found some answers. Wallace has been tremendous in the second half running that point.
Hill all the way to the bucket, lays it up over the rim, and Mike White will quickly call a timeout.
Ravi Wallace with 14 points in this ball game. And he shot a good percentage, 6 out of 10, I think, from the floor. And only 1 turnover in all of his minutes that he's played, 27 minutes. He stuck a 3 in the first half. At the end of the first half, he's attacked that middle third off ball screen action, but he's just played under control. He's made smart, tough, physical plays. And his defense on Roberts, which is not in his package, Cal, I'm sure, will talk a lot about it, because Roberts was owning this game on the road. And you have to have someone at halftime that says, who wants a piece of Roberts? And Cason Wallace is the guy that said, Coach, let me have a shot at him. Well done. by the former McDonald's All-American.
If there's a caveat to the South Carolina loss, it was Toppin didn't play against South Carolina with a right shoulder injury. Remember, Wallace left that game with back spasms. So the 5 guys that are on the floor that you say are going to be there moving forward, well, 2 of them missed. One of them missed the entire game, and another one missed a chunk of the game. And this is Wallace coming off a game in which he played 22 minutes against Tennessee and was 0 for 3, had 6 assists.
Well, Tshiebwe has his edge back, and Frederick is the vocal leader of this team. You got the athleticism of Toppin, and Kentucky has found their groove. I'm not saying to say that they're going to take down Alabama and win the SEC title, but they're going to work their way into that top 3 or 4 and get in that NCAA tournament if they continue.
Roberts is unfortunately the guy that has to foul Wallace. And that's the 4th on Roberts. Well, Kentucky has worked a lot, Jimmy, on their free throw shooting. You know, there were years here where that was an Achilles heel for them. They just couldn't make their free throws a long time ago under Calipari. And this year, that was an issue. They've definitely gotten better. They were terrific against Tennessee, and they're making their free throws again tonight. Now 21 of 27, about 77%.
Well, there's that schedule I mentioned. A&M is going to be a very difficult game. I'm telling you, they have the ability to kind of force you into the game that they want to play. They scramble you up defensively. Will they have an answer for Tshiebwe? I don't know, because Georgia certainly has not. What a statement by Tshiebwe. Not only for him, but for this Kentucky team.
Foul and a bucket. Reeves makes a mistake, fouling the shooter right at the bucket. 37 and 24 for Oscar Tshiebwe.
Yes. I sense Cal was coaching with a lot more confidence at Tennessee today in the shoot around, and tonight he's back on his guys in the right way. He's not soft paddling anything. He's not sugarcoating anything. He's addressing it man to man. And the accountability for this Kentucky program is right back where it needs to be. Cal said, don't panic. I've been here before. The right buttons have been pushed. Last Tuesday when we were here, it was a disaster.
It was. There's a foul there. I mean, there are 5 guys, Jimmy. Think about Toppin. You mentioned Frederick, Reeves, Wallace, and Tshiebwe, all with 26 or more minutes. Then it's Livingston. Wheeler got 11. His role has been dramatically reduced here recently. He too was banged up, missed a game recently, but Wallace is seemingly the primary point guard going forward. And again, Frederick has made 1 shot tonight. And it looks like they're going to win this game going away against Georgia. And as to your point, you know there are going to be games in which Frederick, you know, makes 6 of 12 from 3. Reeves goes to the bench. Calipari gives him a hand. Toppin now a double-double. And the ball on the floor, and who picks it up? Tshiebwe, and then he lost it. Now he deflects it to his teammate. Mike White puts his hands up. We're down 12 with a minute to go. Let's just run it out. Hey, Mike White's very impressive, Jimmy, with what he's done in a very short period of time and a culture change at Georgia.
Yeah, he's got his kids believing. They're fighting defensively. What he did in the transfer portal to sell himself and sell the vision. But Kentucky just too much tonight. Putting 85 on the board. Last 2 ball games, and Georgia comes in, Ravi, they've given up about 55, 56 points a game. Kentucky too much strength. All about Oscar Tshiebwe, who points at the crowd. 34 in white, played like the National Player of the Year tonight.
He sure did. In the end, Tshiebwe is going to end up with a monster night. 37 points, 24 rebounds, and Kentucky, which trailed by 11 in the first half, caps off its biggest comeback of the season and win it 85-71. Don't forget our Saturday quadruple header. Scott Van Pelt Show is coming up next. Great to have Marty Smith back. Derek Mobley also returns, the director, after a terrific college football season. For my buddy Jimmy Dykes, I'm Carl Ravitch. We're off to the Waffle House. 85-71, Kentucky a winner.